Hi, my name is Rodney Walker, and what you just saw was a short summary of my life. I'd like to take you on a journey and share a little more of my story with you today. I'm the byproduct of parents who were born and raised in Chicago's public housing projects, a mother who met her biological father for the first time at 12 and was raped and abused by him shortly thereafter. My mother followed in her mother's footsteps and became pregnant at 13 years old. She lost her younger brother to 2 shots to the head with a sawed-off shotgun, one of the most brutal gang homicides in Cabrini's history. My mother, understandably, suffered from clinically undiagnosed depression and PTSD and became a cocaine addict as a result. Now, my father was raised by a single mother, a mother who left for work in the evenings as a bartender, and as a result, he was consumed by the streets and eventually dropped out of high school. He enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1968, went to Vietnam, and came home with an aggressive heroin addiction to cope with his PTSD. After coming home, he couldn't keep a job and was eventually consumed by the streets once again, getting involved in petty criminal activity before becoming locked up for selling drugs. So this was my blueprint, my foundation, my grounding. I came into the foster care system at 5 years old, and throughout the course of my childhood, I have been in 12 different homes. I have horror stories. I've experienced a lot of abuse in foster care. I had breakdowns and episodes of depression from knowing that I had 9 other siblings who I didn't have the privilege of growing up with. And I was homeless at 17 years old, couch surfing over my friends' places and in and out of shelters for a few months. It shouldn't surprise you that my education was the least of my priorities given all this instability in my life. Unfortunately, my story was and still is the status quo, which should scare all of us. But as we continue to find solutions to all of these layers, let me briefly share the critical factors that contributed to me turning my life around and how ultimately my adversity prepared me for a life of success. So near the end of high school, 2 important things happened that changed the course of my life. While I was in school, I couldn't learn and grow because there were too many emotional problems. I was beaten by foster parents, my real parents were drug addicts, I was stripped of my birth family, and I felt like there was no one there to listen to me. I felt hopeless. Then I found a mentor. He was the dean of my high school at the time, and I was fortunate to participate in his mentorship program. And he helped me understand the trauma I had experienced and the impact it had on my life. He was a passionate, fierce, and tenacious leader who, despite however many times I let him down, refused to let me fail. And to this day, he is still central to my life. Another vehicle that contributed to my transformation was a class on business offered by an organization called the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, or NIFTY. This is a non-for-profit organization that actually was supported by Invest for Kids. I signed up for this class my senior year, mainly to fulfill some credits, but it proved to be more important than I expected. I created my own business through this program, and at the same time, I learned the importance of having an entrepreneurial mindset and the role that critical and innovative thinking plays in solving life's complex problems. This lifelong mentorship, combined with the economic opportunity provided through NIFTY, was what I needed to begin the healing process. And I stand before you today as the first in my family to graduate from high school, as a graduate of Morehouse College, and with a master's degree from Yale University. I've written a book on my journey. I also began working with kids and traveling the country promoting awareness about how to help children who have experienced deep trauma. In conclusion, there have been some very serious investments made in my life. And here's the best way I can describe the impact of those investments. In the end, nothing about me is fixed. I still live with the horrors of violence and poverty and social failure just as I did in 2008. My parents are still drug addicts, my family is still torn apart, and my world is still broken. My former high school still produces a 50% dropout rate, and the homicide rate continues to climb in my community. What has changed is my mindset. What has changed is my understanding that despite everything that's working against my favor, I don't have to work against myself. The headlines you read and the news you hear about Chicago's crime are daunting and very real. Sadly, some kids will not make it through our system, but many others are. And it's because of the dedication and perseverance of the organizations you are supporting today and in the past. Thank you for your investment in Chicago's youth.